Day 7 arrived with confirmation of what every scientist already knew. The Cascade virus was extinct. Not a single active sample existed anywhere in human space. Monitoring stations on Earth, on 12 colony worlds, on orbital platforms, all reported the same thing. The virus was gone. HFY presented the final research to the United Nations Emergency Assembly. Every surviving government had sent representatives. The assembly hall was only half full. So many delegates had died, but those who remained listened carefully. The virus is extinct, HFY announced. We have eradicated it completely. This is not like previous diseases that we controlled or managed. This virus no longer exists anywhere in the universe except as genetic information in our immune systems. She pulled up images of the new human immune response. Every human alive today carries these new antibodies. Every human born from this day forward will inherit them. This is a permanent change to our species. The plague did not just make us immune to one disease. It made us capable of rapid immune adaptation to entire classes of pathogens. The acting Secretary General of the UN spoke. Dr. HFY, you have said repeatedly that this virus was artificial. That someone created it and released it deliberately. Do we know who? Yes, HFY replied. We have analyzed the virus's genetic structure. It contains markers that are not natural. Manufacturing signatures. We trace these signatures to technology used by the Galactic Council member species, specifically the Quinn species, known for their biological research. The assembly erupted in angry voices. Everyone knew what this meant. The Galactic Council had tried to genocide humanity. Sora stepped forward to provide military analysis. We have also detected unusual signals from orbit during the 3 days before the plague. Ships entered our system, released something into our atmosphere, and left quickly. These ships match the profiles of Council reconnaissance vessels. The timing matches perfectly with the virus release. This was a coordinated attack on all 12 human worlds simultaneously. Why would they do this? Someone asked. Because they fear us, answered Yuna. Human expansion has been fast, too fast for their comfort. We have claimed 47 star systems in 80 years. We compete with established species for resources and territory. From their perspective, we are a threat that needed to be eliminated. The Secretary General looked grim. What they did not expect was that we would survive and adapt. Now humanity knows we were targeted for extermination. The question is, what do we do about it? At Seoul Central Hospital, Ji Young was treating the last of the plague patients. Most had recovered days ago. The few who remained were those who had been in critical condition when the recovery began. But even they were getting better. The hospital had started accepting regular patients again. Broken bones, infections, routine surgeries, normal medicine. Hyunwoo and his grandmother, Misun, had volunteered to help. They worked in the recovery ward, assisting patients who were learning to walk again after days of being bedridden. Misun moved with energy that seemed impossible for her age. She carried supplies, helped lift patients, worked 12-hour shifts without tiring. I do not understand how you do it, Ji Young said to her. You are 73 years old. You should be resting. Misun laughed. I feel better than I did 20 years ago. Whatever that virus did to us, it did not just make us immune. It made us stronger, faster. My hands do not shake anymore. My back does not hurt. I feel like I am 50 again. Ji Young had seen the same thing in hundreds of patients. The plague survivors were not just healthy. They were enhanced. Blood tests showed improved healing rates, better organ function, enhanced neural activity. Humans had not just evolved immunity. They had evolved better bodies. On Nova Terra, Kiwoo was dealing with an unexpected problem. The colony was recovering too fast. Production was exceeding all previous records. People were working longer hours without fatigue. Accident rates were near zero. The colony was becoming more efficient than any human settlement had ever been. We need to expand, the mining supervisor told him. We have capacity now. We can triple our output. We can build new facilities. We can grow this colony faster than planned. Kiwoo looked at the proposals. Before the plague, these plans would have taken 10 years. Now they could be done in 2. How is this possible? The survivors are different, the supervisor explained. They think more clearly. They work better together. They make fewer mistakes. It is like we all got upgraded. Kiwoo approved the expansion plans. Then he sent a report to Earth. If every colony was experiencing the same improvements, humanity's growth rate was about to accelerate dramatically. In orbit, Captain Wu Jin was back to running freight between worlds. But he was not alone anymore. The government had assigned him a military escort. 2 warships now accompanied every civilian vessel. Humanity was taking security seriously. "Captain, we are receiving a transmission," his new communications officer said. "It is coming from outside the system. Galactic Council frequencies." Wu Jin felt his jaw tighten. "Play it," a voice came through the speakers. It spoke in the common galactic language which every human ship captain learned. "This is High Counselor Vexthar of the Galactic Dominion. We wish to open diplomatic communications with the human government. We have matters to discuss." "I bet you do," Wu Jin muttered. "Forward that to military command. Let them decide how to respond." The message reached Earth within hours. The UN Assembly debated for an entire day about whether to respond. Many wanted to ignore it. Others wanted to respond with military force. But eventually wisdom prevailed. "We need to talk to them," the Secretary General decided, "if only to tell them what we think of their genocide attempt." They sent a response. A meeting was arranged at a neutral location, an old trading station near the edge of human space. The UN chose 3 representatives. Heywan would go representing the scientific community. Sora would go representing military interests, and they promoted Yuna to ambassador, representing humanity's diplomatic corps. Wu Jin's ship was chosen to transport them. With a full military escort, the journey took 3 days. During that time, more information came in from Earth and the colonies. The immune evolution was continuing. Humans were developing resistance to other diseases they had never been exposed to. Old illnesses were disappearing. Cancer rates were dropping. Even aging seemed to be slowing down. "We are becoming something new," Heywan told Yuna during the journey. "Not just immune to one virus. We are developing immunity to biological aging, to genetic diseases, to environmental toxins. The plague triggered changes that go far beyond what we initially thought." "The Council will not like that," Yuna replied. "They tried to make us weaker. Instead, they made us stronger. They will see us as an even greater threat now." "Good," Heywan said coldly. "Let them fear us. They earned it." The meeting station came into view. It was an old neutral facility used for trade negotiations between species. Wu Jin docked the ship carefully, and the 3 human representatives disembarked. The Council had sent 3 representatives as well. High Counselor Vexthar, Science Director Quintar, Admiral Moros. They waited in the meeting room, watching as the humans entered. Vexthar studied the humans carefully. They looked calm, confident, healthy. Not at all like survivors of a plague that had killed 1.2 billion of their people. If anything, they looked stronger than humans he had seen before. "Welcome," Vexthar said formally. "We are pleased that you accepted our invitation to talk." Yuna took the lead. She was young for a diplomat, barely 30 years old, but she spoke with absolute confidence. "We did not come here to talk. We came here to make something very clear. Humanity knows what you did. We know you created the Cascade virus. We know you released it on all our worlds simultaneously. We know you tried to exterminate our entire species." The Council representative said nothing. 1.2 billion humans died, Yuna continued. Entire families. Entire cities. Children, elderly, everyone. You tried to kill us all. "It was deemed necessary," Vexthar said carefully. "Human expansion was threatening galactic stability. Threatening your control," Heywan corrected sharply. "You were afraid of us. Afraid of competition, so you chose genocide." Quintar spoke for the first time. "The Cascade virus has never failed before. 3 species were eliminated by it. You should not have survived. What you did is impossible." "And yet here we are," Sora said. "Not only did we survive, we evolved. We adapted. We turned your weapon into an evolutionary advantage. Now humanity is immune to bioweapons. All bioweapons. You cannot hurt us that way again." Admiral Moros looked uncomfortable. "We underestimated you. We admit that. But the question remains, what happens now? Will humanity seek revenge? Will there be war?" Yuna smiled, but it was not a friendly expression. "That depends entirely on you. Humanity could respond to attempted genocide with military force. We have the right. International law, galactic law, any law supports our right to defend ourselves against extermination attempts. We could come for you with everything we have." Vexthar felt genuine fear then. The humans had survived impossible odds. Who knew what else they were capable of? But Yuna continued, "Humanity is also practical. War is expensive. War is destructive. War would cost us resources we would rather use for growth and development. What is that? Taman asked. We do not die easily, HFY said, and we never forget. Day 3 began with humanity trying to count its losses. Every major city had mass graves. Hospitals were filled with bodies waiting to be identified. Communication networks were slowly coming back online, allowing people to search for missing loved ones. The numbers were staggering. 1.2 billion dead, entire families wiped out, whole neighborhoods empty. But something remarkable was happening among the survivors. HFY had not slept in 48 hours. She stood in her lab with a team of researchers, all of them running tests on blood samples from around the world. Every sample told the same story. The human immune system had done something impossible. Look at this, said Yuna, a young geneticist who had joined the team. She pulled up an image on the main screen. It showed a strand of human DNA next to a strand from 3 days ago. This is from the same person, same woman, age 35, living in Seoul. The DNA on the left is from her medical records before the plague. The DNA on the right is from this morning. They are different, Taman observed. Yes, Yuna confirmed. The new DNA has incorporated genetic material from the virus, but not in a harmful way. The human body took the virus's own genetic code and used it to create new immune responses. This is lateral gene transfer, but it happened in hours, not over millions of years of evolution. HFY studied the images. The virus was designed to adapt faster than immune systems could respond, but human immune systems adapted even faster. We turned the virus's own weapon against it. Bora's face appeared on the video conference screen. She was calling from Nova Terra. We found something else, she said. The immunity is transferable. We tested it with volunteers. People who never got sick were exposed to recovered patients. Within 6 hours, the non-infected people developed the same antibodies. They gained immunity without ever being infected. The room went silent. That is not possible, someone said. It is happening, Bora insisted. We have documented 57 cases. The immunity spreads through casual contact, breathing the same air, touching the same surfaces. It is like the recovered humans are constantly producing and spreading the antibodies. Sora joined the conference from her military facility. My team confirmed the same thing. We think the human body is now producing these new antibodies constantly and shedding them into the environment. Anyone who spends time near a recovered person will develop immunity within hours. No infection needed. Daejung, the data analyst, brought up global infection maps. If this pattern continues, every surviving human will have the immunity within a week. Not because they got sick, but because they were near someone who recovered. The immunity is spreading faster than the original virus did. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not just survived. They had fundamentally changed. At Seoul Central Hospital, Ji Young was discovering the same thing. She had been working with elderly patients, many of whom had never caught the virus. But their blood tests showed they were developing immunity anyway. She tested herself. Despite never showing symptoms, she had the new antibodies in her system. Hyunwoo, the teenage boy who had recovered, was helping move supplies in the hospital. He had bounced back faster than anyone expected. He felt stronger than before he got sick. His grandmother, Mi-sun, was the same. The old woman who should have been weakened was instead full of energy. I feel 20 years younger, Mi-sun told Ji Young. Is that normal? Nothing about this is normal, Ji Young replied. But you are not alone. Many recovered patients report feeling stronger, healthier. We think the changes to your immune system have other benefits we are just starting to understand. By day 4, the virus was almost gone from Earth's atmosphere. Wu Jin, back on duty in orbit, ran atmospheric scans from his ship. The virus markers were dropping rapidly. Within another day, the virus would be undetectable. It is dying, he reported to ground control. Whatever the survivors are doing, they are killing the virus everywhere, not just in their bodies. In the air, water, surfaces, everywhere, ground control confirmed it. We are seeing the same thing at all monitoring stations. The virus is going extinct. Not dormant, not hiding. Actually going extinct. On Nova Terra, Kiwoo watched his colony come back to life. Half the population was dead, but the survivors were rebuilding quickly. Too quickly, perhaps. People who should have been traumatized and exhausted were instead working 16-hour days. They were focused, energized, driven. He received a call from a mining supervisor. Sir, you need to see this. Our workers are performing above normal capacity. way above normal. A team that usually processes 200 tons of ore per day just processed 500. They are not tired. They are not making mistakes. It is like they became superhuman overnight. Kiwoo reviewed the reports. Across the colony, productivity was up. Accident rates were down. People were thinking more clearly, reacting faster, working better together. The plague had not just made them immune, it had made them better. HFY gathered all the research data and presented it to the reforming planetary government. Leaders from every surviving nation joined the video conference. She showed them everything. The DNA changes, the spreading immunity, the extinction of the virus, the enhanced capabilities of recovered humans. What you are telling us, said the acting president of Korea, is that humanity has evolved in 3 days. Yes, HFY confirmed. The virus was designed to kill us. Instead, it forced our species to adapt. And we adapted in a way no other species has ever done. We did not just develop immunity, we weaponized our entire immune system. Every human alive now carries antibodies that can destroy this virus and teach other humans to do the same. What about future threats? Someone asked. What if there are other viruses? Yuna answered that question. We studied the new immune structures in detail. They are not specific to this one virus. The human body has created a template, a framework that can rapidly adapt to similar pathogens. If another virus attacks us, our immune systems will learn it and counter it in hours or days instead of weeks or months. Sora added military context. This means humanity is now essentially immune to bioweapons. Not just this one. Entire categories of biological attacks will no longer work against us. This is a strategic advantage unlike anything in history. The implications hung in the air. Someone had tried to genocide humanity with a bioweapon, but instead of dying, humanity had become immune to bioweapons. By day 5, every scientific organization on Earth and the colonies was studying the phenomenon. Research papers were being written, shared, debated. A picture emerged of what had happened. Humans had evolved on a death world. For millions of years, diseases had killed early humans. Plagues had wiped out entire populations. Bacteria and viruses had been constant threats. The human immune system had learned to be aggressive, adaptive, and creative. It had to be, or humans would have gone extinct long ago. When the Cascade virus attacked, it triggered something deep in human genetics, an old survival mechanism millions of years old that could only activate under extreme threat. The mechanism allowed rapid genetic changes, instant adaptation, species-wide evolution. Other species never developed this, Taemin explained to the government council, because they never needed it. Most intelligent species evolved on worlds with fewer diseases, milder climates, less aggressive ecosystems. Humans survived on Earth by becoming the most adaptable species in history. We just never had to use that adaptability at full capacity until now. So this virus, the acting president said slowly, it pushed us to our absolute limit, and at that limit we evolved. Exactly, HFY confirmed. Daejung presented his final models. According to every projection, the virus will be completely extinct by midnight tonight, dead everywhere, in every environment. No traces left except in our own antibodies. We have not just defeated it, we have erased it from existence. That night, as predicted, the last traces of the Cascade virus died. Monitoring stations around the world and on all 12 colonies confirmed it. The pathogen that should have killed 99.97% of humanity was gone forever. HFY stood on the roof of her research center, looking at the Seoul skyline. Lights were coming back on across the city. Survivors were returning to the streets. Life was resuming. But nothing would ever be the same. Taemin joined her. What are you thinking about? About who did this, HFY replied. The virus was artificial, designed, released deliberately and simultaneously on all our worlds. Someone tried to kill us. The Galactic Council, Taemin said. It was not a question. The evidence pointed clearly in that direction. Yes, HFY agreed. And now they know we survived. They know we adapted. They are probably watching us right now, trying to understand what happened. What do you think they are feeling? Taemin asked. HFY smiled, but it was not a kind smile. Fear. They should be feeling fear. Because they just showed us what we are capable of. They tried to exterminate us and we turned their weapon into an upgrade. Now they have to wonder what else we can survive. What else we can adapt to. What we might do to them when we find out who they are. Far above Earth, in the orbital station, Admiral Moros was thinking exactly those thoughts. He stood in the observation deck watching the blue plane. Dr. Haywan arrived at her lab at 6 in the morning, like she did every day. The Seoul Medical Research Center was quiet at this hour. She liked it that way. She could focus on her work without interruptions. Her husband Tamian worked in the lab next to hers. They often shared coffee before starting their research. "You are early," Tamian said, handing her a cup. Steam rose from the hot liquid. "I want to finish the protein analysis before the meeting," Haywan replied. She sat at her workstation and began pulling up data on her screens. Neither of them noticed when the building's air filtration system cycled on at 6:15. Neither of them saw the microscopic particles that entered through the ventilation ducts. The virus was invisible, odorless, and completely silent. Across the city, millions of people went about their morning routines. They took trains to work. They dropped children at schools. They bought coffee from street vendors, and with every breath they inhaled the cascade virus. 4 hours later, Haywan felt the first symptom. A slight fever, nothing serious. She took some medicine and continued working. Taman complained about a headache. Down the hall, a colleague started coughing. By noon, half the research center staff had gone home sick. At Seoul Central Hospital, Dr. Ji Young was having the strangest shift of her career. The emergency room had been normal at 8 in the morning. By 11, every bed was full. By noon, patients were lying on the floor. They all had the same symptoms. High fever, difficulty breathing. Some were coughing up blood. "What is this?" Ji Young asked her supervisor. "Some kind of flu outbreak?" "I do not know," the supervisor replied. He looked exhausted already. "But it is everywhere. Every hospital in the city is reporting the same thing. The same symptoms. All starting around 10 this morning." Ji Young moved from patient to patient trying to help, but nothing worked. Fever reducers had no effect. Oxygen masks helped for a few minutes, then patients got worse. She watched a young man, maybe 20 years old, struggle to breathe. His lungs were filling with fluid. There was nothing she could do. He died at 1:30 in the afternoon. By 2 o'clock, every patient who had arrived before noon was dead. High above Earth, Captain Wu Jin guided his freight ship through orbital space. He carried supplies between Earth and the moon colonies. It was boring work, but it paid well. His crew of 8 people handled the cargo and maintained the ship. "Captain, I am not feeling well," his first officer said over the intercom. "I need to lie down." "Take a break," Wu Jin replied. "We do not dock for another 6 hours. An hour later, 3 more crew members reported sick. Then 4, then all 8. Wu Jin felt fine until 4 in the afternoon. Then the fever hit him like a wall. His head pounded. His chest felt tight. He set the ship to automatic navigation and stumbled to his cabin. Through his window, he could see Earth below. The blue and white planet looked peaceful, beautiful. He did not know that across its surface, hundreds of millions of people were dying. On the colony world of Nova Terra, Kiwoo was reviewing supply reports when his assistant burst into his office. The woman was pale and shaking. "Sir, the hospital is calling for emergency help," she said. "They have hundreds of critical patients. The doctors are saying everyone is getting sick." Kiwoo stood up quickly. "Everyone? What do you mean, everyone?" "Every person who came to the hospital this morning is dead or dying. And now the doctors are getting sick too. Whatever this is, it spreads fast." Kiwoo felt a chill run through him. Nova Terra had 50,000 colonists. If everyone was getting sick, the colony could collapse in days. He grabbed his communication device and tried to call Earth. The line was busy. He tried again. Still busy. On the 3rd attempt, he got through to the Colonial Administration office. "We cannot talk long," the person on the other end said. Their voice was weak. "Something is killing us. Some kind of plague. Every world is reporting the same thing. Billions are sick. Hospitals are full. Governments are collapsing. I have to go. I am getting sick too." The line went dead. Kiwoo sat down heavily in his chair. His assistant was crying. Outside his window, he could see colonists walking through the streets. They looked normal, but he knew that would change soon. Whatever was happening on Earth was happening here too. By 6 in the evening, Haywan could barely stand. Her fever was 40 degrees Celsius. Her lungs hurt with every breath. Taman was worse. He was coughing blood into a cloth, his face gray with pain. "We need to get to a hospital," Haywan said. "The hospitals are full. Taman replied weakly. I heard on the news. People are dying faster than they can be treated. Whatever this disease is, we have never seen it before. HFY dragged herself to her lab equipment. If she was going to die, she wanted to know what was killing her. She took a blood sample from her arm, hands shaking as she worked. She loaded it into the analysis machine and waited. The results made no sense. Her blood was full of a virus she had never seen before. It was attacking her immune system directly. Her white blood cells were trying to fight it, but the virus adapted every time. It was like watching a battle where one side could change its weapons instantly, while the other side used the same tactics over and over. This is artificial, HFY whispered. She pulled up the genetic structure on her screen. The virus had markers that did not exist in nature. Someone had made this. Someone had created a perfect killer. She tried to call the authorities, but her phone had no signal. The networks were overloaded with millions of people trying to reach each other. She sent an email instead, attaching her research. She did not know if anyone would see it. By 8 in the evening, the death toll had reached 340 million people. Every major city on Earth was in chaos. Governments had stopped responding. Emergency services had collapsed. People died in their homes, on the streets, in hospitals already filled with corpses. On Wu Jin's ship, 7 of his 8 crew members were dead. He had checked on them an hour ago, going from cabin to cabin. Their bodies were cold. Blood had dried around their mouths and noses. He was alone now, drifting in space, waiting to die like they had. He recorded a final log entry. This is Captain Wu Jin of the freight vessel Morning Star. My crew is dead. I am dying. Some kind of plague has killed billions. If anyone finds this recording, know that we did not go quietly. We fought until the end. But we lost. He stopped recording and looked at Earth again. From here, it still looked beautiful. He wondered how many people were still alive down there. How many had hours left like he did? How many were saying goodbye to loved ones they would never see again? Ji Young had not left the hospital in 12 hours. She could not. There were too many patients, too many people dying. She had stopped counting the dead after the first 100. Her hands were covered in other people's blood. Her protective suit was torn in 3 places. She had probably been exposed to whatever this was hours ago. She felt the fever starting as midnight approached. Her head began to hurt. Her breathing got harder. She sat down against a wall in the hallway, surrounded by bodies waiting to be moved. I am sorry, she said to no one in particular. I am sorry I could not save you. At midnight, exactly 18 hours after the virus was released, the death toll passed 500 million. Half the humans on Earth were already infected. The other half would be by morning. In the orbital station above Proxima Centauri, High Counselor Vexthar watched the reports coming in from the human worlds. The virus was working exactly as predicted. Better, even. The humans were dying faster than expected. By this time tomorrow, he said to Admiral Moros, the human infestation will be a memory. Moros nodded but said nothing. He was watching the numbers on the screen. 500 million dead, 1 billion infected, 2 billion showing symptoms. The numbers kept climbing. Something about it bothered him, but he could not say what. Everything was going according to plan. The humans were dying. Soon the galaxy would be safe. But deep in his mind, a small voice whispered a warning. The humans had survived on a death world for millions of years. They had endured ice ages, plagues, natural disasters, and predators. They had climbed to the top of their planet's food chain through sheer stubborn refusal to die. What if this time was no different? What if the humans found a way to survive? Moros pushed the thought away. It was impossible. No species could adapt to the Cascade virus. 3 other species had proven that. But none of those species had been human. Hour 22 came quietly. Most of the world's communication networks were down. Satellites still orbited Earth, recording everything, but there was no one left to monitor them. In hospitals, the few doctors still alive moved like ghosts between the dying. They had given up trying to save people. Now they just tried to make the end less painful. HFY lay on the floor of her lab, too weak to move. Her fever had peaked at 42 degrees 2 hours ago. Her organs should have been failing. She should have been dead. But something strange was happening. The fever was dropping. Not quickly, but steadily. 41.5 degrees, 41, 40.5. She opened her eyes. The ceiling lights hurt to look at. Her body felt like it had been hit by a truck. But she was alive. More than alive. She was getting better. Next to her, Tai Min groaned. He was still breathing. Hei-Wan had been sure he would die hours ago. The blood he had been coughing up had stopped. His breathing sounded easier. Tai Min, she whispered. Her voice was rough and broken. Can you hear me? Yes, he replied weakly. I feel different, less bad. Hei-Wan forced herself to sit up. The room spun, but she stayed conscious. She looked around the lab. 2 other researchers were lying on the floor. One of them was moving. The other was not. She crawled over to check. 1 dead, 1 alive. The alive one was breathing normally now. Across Seoul, the same thing was happening in thousands of locations. People who should have been dead were waking up. The hemorrhaging was stopping. The fevers were breaking. Not everyone. Maybe 40%. But that 40% was not dying anymore. At Seoul Central Hospital, Ji-young opened her eyes. She had passed out against the wall hours ago, certain she would never wake up. But she was awake now. Her fever was gone. She stood up slowly, testing her legs. They held around her. Other medical staff were getting up too. Some patients on the floor were moving, groaning, coming back from the edge of death. Ji-young checked the nearest patient, an elderly woman who had stopped breathing an hour ago. The woman's eyes opened. What happened? The woman asked. I do not know, Ji-young replied honestly, but I think we are going to survive. On Woo-jin's ship, the captain woke up floating in zero gravity. He had unbuckled from his chair when the fever got too bad. Now he grabbed a handhold and pulled himself to the control panel. His hands were steady. His vision was clear. The fever was gone. He checked the ship's medical scanner, pressing it against his arm. His vital signs were normal. Better than normal. His white blood cell count was 3 times what it should be. His body temperature was back to 37 degrees. I am alive, he said out loud, needing to hear it to believe it. I am actually alive. He checked the communication systems. Most networks were still down, but the emergency channels were starting to come back online. He heard scattered voices. Other survivors. Other ships. Other people who should have been dead but were not. On Nova Terra, Ki-woo stood at his window and watched the sun rise over the colony. He had spent the entire night watching people die. The hospital had collapsed. The government had stopped functioning. Half the colony was dead, but the other half was waking up. The plague had stopped spreading. The infected were recovering. He sent a message to Earth hoping someone would receive it. This is Colony Administrator Ki-woo of Nova Terra. The death toll has stabilized at 22,000, but the remaining 28,000 colonists are recovering. Repeat, we are recovering. Whatever this disease is, we are beating it. Hei-Wan managed to get to her feet at hour 26. She stumbled to her equipment and took another blood sample. Her hands shook as she loaded it into the analyzer. The results came up on the screen and she stared at them for a full minute, not believing what she was seeing. The virus was still in her blood. But her immune system had changed. Her white blood cells had structures she had never seen before, new antibodies, new proteins. Her immune system looked like it had been completely redesigned. She ran the analysis 3 times, same results. She took a blood sample from Tai Min, who was now sitting up and drinking water. His blood showed the same changes. Impossible changes. What is happening to us? Tai Min asked. Evolution, Hei-Wan whispered. Our bodies are evolving. Right now, in real time. She sent out calls to every research facility that still had power. Within hours, she was on video conferences with scientists across the world. In Beijing, in London, in New York, in Tokyo. Every researcher reported the same findings. Human immune systems were adapting to the virus. Not slowly, over generations. Instantly, within hours. A military geneticist named Sora joined one of the conferences. She worked at a secret research base in the mountains. We have been studying the recovered patients, she said. Their DNA has changed. The virus introduced foreign genetic material, and instead of making them sick, their bodies incorporated it. Weaponized it. The human immune system learned the virus's structure and created a perfect counter-weapon. That is impossible, another scientist said. Evolution does not work that fast. It does now, Sora replied. Look at the data. Human bodies are doing something no other mammalian species can do. We are not just fighting the virus. We are learning from it. At hour 36, the recovery rate jumped to 75%. Patients who had been dying for 2 days suddenly stabilized. Ji-young watched it happen in her hospital. A teenage boy named Hyun-woo had been unconscious for 12 hours. His grandmother, Mi-sun, sat next to his bed holding his hand. The old woman had been sick too, but she recovered faster than anyone expected. "He is waking up," Mi-sun said suddenly. Ji-young rushed over. Hyun-woo's eyes opened. He looked confused but alert. His vital signs were strong. He sat up, pulling the oxygen mask off his face. "Where am I?" he asked. "Seoul Central Hospital," Ji-young told him. "You have been very sick, but you are better now." "I had a dream," Hyun-woo said slowly. "I was dying. I felt my body shutting down. But then something changed. It was like my body decided it was not ready to die, like it fought back." "That is exactly what happened," Mi-sun said, tears running down her face. "Your body fought back, and it won." By hour 48, 2 days after the virus was released, the death toll had stabilized at 1.2 billion people. 15% of humanity was dead, but 85% had survived. And those survivors were showing complete immunity to the virus. HFY coordinated with researchers on other human worlds. Nova Terra, New Beijing, Harmony Station, all 12 colonies reported the same results. Humans everywhere were adapting. The virus that should have killed them all had instead triggered something in their genetics. A researcher named Bora from Nova Terra shared her findings. "The immunity is not just passive," she said. "Recovered humans are actively destroying the virus in the environment around them. Their breath, their skin, even their sweat contains antibodies that neutralize the pathogen. We tested it. A recovered human walked through a room contaminated with the virus. 10 minutes later, the virus in that room was dead." "What are you saying?" HFY asked. "I am saying we are not just immune. We are antiviral. We kill the virus just by existing near it." A data analyst named Dae Jung had been tracking infection patterns worldwide. He appeared on the conference looking exhausted but excited. "According to my models, the virus will be extinct within 48 hours. Not contained. Not dormant, extinct. Humans are eliminating it from existence. The news was too good to be real. But the data supported it. Every hour the virus became less active. Every hour more of it died out. The human immune response was not just protecting individuals. It was protecting the entire species." In the orbital station above Proxima Centauri, the Galactic Council watched the reports with growing disbelief. The death toll had stopped climbing. The infection rate was dropping. Humans were recovering. Science Director Quintar stood before the council, her mandibles clicking nervously. "I do not understand. The Cascade virus has never failed before. It should have killed 99.97% of the population. Instead, it has killed only 15%. 15% is still catastrophic," someone pointed out. "Over 1 billion humans dead. Surely the survivors will be weakened, unable to rebuild?" "No," Admiral Morrow said quietly. He had been studying the detailed reports. "Look at the medical data. The humans who survived are not weakened. They are stronger. Their immune systems have capabilities we have never seen before. They adapted to a species-killer virus in less than 3 days." Vexthar felt something he had not felt in decades. Fear. "What are you saying?" "I am saying we did not kill the humans," Moros replied. "We made them stronger." Back on Earth, HFY stood in her lab surrounded by screens full of data. Taemin was next to her, looking at the same information. Around the world, billions of humans were waking up from the worst plague in history. They had lost friends, family members, loved ones, but they were alive, and they were different. "We need to figure out how this happened," HFY said. "We need to understand what changed in our biology. And we need to find out who did this," Taemin added. His voice was hard. "This virus was artificial. Someone made it. Someone released it. Someone tried to kill us all." HFY nodded. "Yes. And when we find them, they are going to learn something important about humans." The council chamber floated in the darkness of space, a massive ring of metal and light orbiting a distant star. Inside, representatives from 47 different species sat in their designated seats. The air was thick with tension. Today they would make a decision that would change the galaxy forever. High Counselor Vexthar stood at the center platform. His scales caught the light as he moved, creating patterns of green and gold. He was old, even by his species standards, and he had seen many threats to galactic peace. But none worried him quite like the humans. "Members of the council," Vexthar began, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We gather today to discuss the human problem. For 80 years we have watched them spread across the stars like a disease. They have claimed 47 star systems. 47. It took my people 3,000 years to claim 30 systems. It took the Quinn species 5,000 years to establish 20 colonies. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. A representative from the Moros species, a being made of crystallized minerals, spoke up. The humans are aggressive. They take resources without asking. They terraform worlds without considering who might have used them before. They breed too fast, added another voice. One human generation is barely 20 years. They fill planets faster than we can negotiate treaties. Vexithar raised his clawed hand for silence. The human expansion threatens everything we have built. Our careful balance of power. Our trade agreements. Our territorial boundaries. In another century, humans will outnumber all of us combined. We have tried diplomacy. We have tried economic sanctions. We have tried subtle interference. Nothing works. Science Director Quintar moved to the center platform. She was an insectoid creature, her multiple eyes reflecting the lights of the chamber. She carried a small device that projected images into the air above them. I present to you the Cascade virus, Quintar said. The projection showed a complex biological structure, rotating slowly. This pathogen is our most successful creation. It targets mammalian respiratory and immune systems specifically. The virus adapts faster than any natural immune response. Once exposed, the host has approximately 48 hours before complete system failure. The chamber fell silent. Everyone knew what she was suggesting. We have tested it extensively, Quintar continued. The mortality rate is 99.97% across all mammalian species we have encountered. The virus reproduces rapidly in oxygen-nitrogen atmospheres, exactly the kind humans prefer. It spreads through air, water, and physical contact. An ambassador from a peaceful species stood up. You are talking about genocide. The complete elimination of an entire species across multiple worlds. I am talking about survival, Quintar replied coldly. The Cascade virus has been used 3 times before. 3 species that threatened galactic stability no longer exist. The galaxy continued. Peace was maintained. Vexthar spoke again. The humans are different from us in ways that make them dangerous. They evolved on a death world. Their planet has extreme weather, dangerous predators, and thousands of diseases. This made them tough. Too tough. They adapt to almost anything. They survive in environments that would kill most of us within hours. Admiral Moros, the military strategist, activated his own display. Human military expansion is accelerating. They have developed weapons we have never seen before. Their ships are faster than ours. Their soldiers are more aggressive. They have a concept they call total war, where entire populations contribute to military efforts. In 50 years, they will have the strength to challenge the entire council. What you suggest is an act of war, the peaceful ambassador protested. Have we truly exhausted all other options? We have, Vexthar said firmly. The humans do not negotiate like we do. They do not respect boundaries. They see the galaxy as empty space waiting to be filled. With them, Quintar brought up more data. The Cascade virus can be deployed simultaneously across all 12 major human worlds. We have access to their atmospheric processing stations. The virus will spread globally within 6 hours of release. By the end of the first week, the human population will be reduced by 99%. The survivors will lack the infrastructure and numbers to pose any threat. And this virus will not affect our species, someone asked. Correct, Quintar confirmed. The Cascade virus only targets mammalian biology with specific genetic markers. Humans possess all of these markers. We do not. The chamber erupted in debate. Some voices called it necessary. Others called it murder. Vexthar let them argue for an hour before calling for silence again. I understand your concerns, he said. But consider this. If we do nothing, in 100 years, humans will dominate the galaxy. They will control resources, trade routes, and territory. They will make the rules. They will decide who lives where and who gets what. Is that the future you want? To be subservient to a species that only discovered faster than light travel 100 years ago? That question hung in the air like a weight. I call for a vote, Vexthar announced. All in favor of deploying the Cascade virus against human population centers, raise your appendage. One by one, hands, claws, tentacles, and various other limbs rose into the air. The peaceful ambassador sat with their head bowed, refusing to participate. But it did not matter. 39 of the 47 species voted yes. The motion passes, Vexthar declared. Science Director Quintar, you have authorization to proceed. How long until deployment? Quintar's mandibles clicked together in what might have been satisfaction. The virus samples are already in position at each target world. Our agents have placed them in atmospheric processors, water treatment facilities, and major transportation hubs. I can initiate the release sequence within 72 hours. Then do so, Vexthar ordered. May the cosmos forgive us for what we must do. As the council members filed out of the chamber, Admiral Moros approached Vexthar. Do you think they will fight back? Before the virus takes full effect? Vexthar shook his head. By the time they understand what is happening, it will be too late. The virus acts quickly. Their medical systems will be overwhelmed within the first day. By day 3, there will be no one left to mount a defense. And if something goes wrong? Moros asked quietly. Nothing will go wrong, Vexthar said, though he did not sound entirely convinced. The Cascade virus has never failed. 3 species have proven that. Humans are tough, yes, but they are not immortal. They cannot adapt to something their immune systems have never encountered, something that attacks faster than their bodies can respond. Moros nodded slowly and walked away. Vexthar remained in the empty chamber, staring at the projection of the Cascade virus still rotating in the air. It looked almost beautiful, like a piece of geometric art. It was hard to believe something so small could end a species. 72 hours, he whispered to himself. In 72 hours, the galaxy will be safe again. He turned off the projection and left the chamber. Outside, through the large windows, he could see stars scattered across the void. Some of those stars had human worlds orbiting them. Soon those worlds would be silent. The countdown had begun.